Hi guys, I wanted to do a little update from Natalie sent me this article on scales that she found an article from this website, SoulCysters. It's a forum for people that have polycystic ovarian syndrome. And so I wanted to read it to you guys. So, because I really thought it was a really good article. But also I wanted to show off my tank top because I really love it. And I actually found it buried in my closet. I bought it before I went to college. And I don't know. Anyway, it's like a bird cage. I'm going the wrong way. Bird cage. Bird. So you all know that I'm obsessed. That's obsessed with bird cages and birds. So anyway, here's the article. So we've been told over and over again that daily weighing is unnecessary, yet many of us can't resist peeking at that number every morning. If you just can't bring yourself to toss the scale in the trash, you should definitely familiarize yourself with the factors that influence its readings. From water retention to glycoside storage and changes in lean body mass, daily weight fluctuations are normal. They are not indications of your success or failure. Once you understand how these mechanisms work, you can free yourself with the daily battle of the bathroom scale. Sorry, my phone's blowing up because of Twitter. Water makes up about 60% of total body mass. Normal fluctuations in the body's water content can send scale watchers into tailspin if they don't understand what's happening, which is true, especially if you have an eating disorder. Two factors influence water retention are water consumption and salt intake. Strange as it sounds, the less water you drink, the more your body retains. Even if you're slightly dehydrated, your body will hang on to its water supply with a vengeance, possibly causing the water or the scale to go up. The solution is to drink plenty of water, which is what I always tell. If you text me during the day, I will tell you to drink water. Excess salt, sodium, can also play a big role in water retention. A single teaspoon of salt contains over 2,000 milligrams of sodium. Generally, we should only eat between 1,000 and 3,000 milligrams of sodium a day, so it's easy to go overboard. Sodium is a sneaky substance. You would expect it to be mostly highly concentrated in salty chips, nuts, and crackers. However, a food doesn't have to taste salty to be loaded with sodium. A half a cup of instant pudding actually contains nearly 4 times as much sodium as an ounce of salted nuts. Gross. 460 milligrams in the pudding versus only 123 in the nuts. But nuts can be fatty, so you have to watch out for that too. The more highly processed a food is, the more likely it is to have a high sodium content, but that's kind of a given. That's why when it comes to eating, it's wise to stick mainly to the basics: fruits, veggies, lean meat, beans, and whole grains. Be sure to read the labels on canned foods, boxed, mixed, and frozen dinners. Women may also retain several pounds of water prior to their menstrual period. Very common, the weight will disappear as quickly as it arrives. Premenstrual water weight gain can be minimized by drinking plenty of water, maintaining an exercise program, keeping high sodium processed foods to a minimum. Another factor that can influence the scale is glycogen. I'm probably butchering that word, I'm sorry. Think of it as fuel tank of stored carbohydrates. It's stored in the liver, and some is stored in the muscles themselves. This energy reserve weighs more than a pound, and it's packaged with 3 to 4 pounds of water when it's stored. Your glycogen supply will shrink during the day if you fail to take in enough carbs, which is a scary thing if you have an eating disorder to think that you need to get enough carbs. But, you know, carbs are fuel for energy. That's just the basics, you know. But we try to deny this. Especially with all the trend diets out there. As the glycogen supply shrinks, you'll experience a small and perceptible increase in appetite, and your body will restore this fuel reserve along with its associated water. It's normal to experience glycogen and water weight shifts of up to 2 pounds per day, even with no changes in your calorie intake or activity level. I've never experienced that personally. These fluctuations have nothing to do with fat loss, although they can make for some unnecessarily dramatic weigh-ins if you're prone to obsessing over the numbers on the scale. Otherwise, rational people also tend to forget about the actual weight of the food they eat. For this reason, it's wise to weigh yourself first thing in the morning before you've had anything to eat or drink. Swallowing a bunch of food before you step on the scale is no different than putting a bunch of rocks in your pocket. The 5 pounds that you gain right after a huge dinner is not fat. It's the actual weight of everything you've had to eat or drink, which is why it's stupid if you've been binging and purging to weigh. The added weight of the meal will be gone several hours later after you've finished digesting it. Exercise psychologists will tell us that in order to store 1 pound of fat, you need to eat 3,500 calories more than your body is able to burn. In other words, to actually store the above dinner as 5 pounds of fat, it would have to contain a whopping 17,500 calories. This is not likely. In fact, it's not humanly possible, unless you're bulimic, but you would purge. So when the scale goes up 3 or 4 pounds overnight, rest easy. It's likely to be water, glycogen, and the weight of your dinner. Keep in mind that the 3,500 calorie rule works in reverse also. In order to lose 1 pound of fat, you need to burn 3,500 calories more than you take in. Generally, it's only possible to lose 1 or 2 pounds of fat per week. When you follow a very low calorie diet that causes your weight to drop 10 pounds in 7 days, it's physically impossible for all that to be fat. What you're really losing is water, glycogen, and muscle. So, if you figure, for someone with an eating disorder, if you're living off of, say, minimum 500 calories a day, I mean, you're losing a lot of the necessity, you know, water, you're becoming dehydrated, muscle, you need muscle to sustain your very core, and glycogen, which is necessary for energy. This brings us to the scale's sneakiest attribute. It doesn't just weigh fat, it weighs muscle, bone, water, internal organs, and all. When you lose weight, that doesn't necessarily mean that you've lost fat. In fact, the scale has no way of telling you what you've lost or gained. Losing muscle is nothing to celebrate. Muscle is a metabolically active tissue. The more muscle you have, the more calories your body burns, even when you're just sitting around. That's one reason why a fit, active person is able to eat considerably more food than the dieter, who is unwittingly destroying muscle tissue. Robert Landis, author of Body Fueling, compares muscles and fat to feathers and gold. 1 pound of fat is like a big, fluffy, lumpy bunch of feathers, and 1 pound of muscle is small and valuable like a piece of gold. Obviously, you want to lose the dumpy, bulky feathers and keep the sleek, beautiful gold. The problem with the scale is that it doesn't differentiate between the two. It can't tell you how much of your total body weight is lean tissue and how much is fat. There's several other measuring techniques that can accomplish this, although they vary in convenience, accuracy, and cost. Skin fold calipers pinch and measure fat folds of various locations of the body. And going underwater weighing involves exhaling all the air from your lungs before being lowered into a water tank. And bioelectrical impedance measures the degree of which your body fat impedes a mild electrical current. So that's just a little article I wanted to read to you, me rambling on. So fluctuations are normal, basically. So that's all. Goodbye.